And so, what I want to talk about is the benefit of helping other people. I think a lot of times when you focus on just doing good for others, a lot of times it comes back around to you. And some people may call it karma, some people may call it sowing and reaping. But I do think that there's a benefit in helping so many other people. And I think a lot of times when you go out of your way to help other people, a lot of times you find yourself being helped. Sometimes what they say is better to give than to receive. And in a lot of cases, I definitely understand it because as you do extend yourself to help other people, there's a lot that can come back to you. And I don't think the goal is to necessarily get out here and help people just so other things can come back to you. I don't think everything works in that way, but I think, you can find yourself being rewarded in helping other people. I think even for myself, like I'm the type of person when I go out to a restaurant, when I go and get service from people, like I don't mind tipping, I don't mind giving, extra. Like I don't care sometimes, even if the service is bad for me. Like I don't know if the person's had a good day, bad day. I don't know, but they're working. And so like I always determine in my head to just go ahead and give whatever it is that I've determined to give. It's not based on somebody's performance. It's based on how I want to do and what I want to do. I just try to base myself on that because sometimes even as you may not get the best service from somebody, right? You can still be able to give and it can probably help them because you don't know what type of stresses a person had. You don't know what a person has went through in life and or went through that day, and it could just be an off day for them, it could be a bad day for them, and so I don't want to make it any worse, and it's not ruining my day. I just always determine within my own self to go ahead and give, and I think when I give a lot of times what has happened is there's cases where I probably been in need and somebody was listening to the voice of God and they gave out of their abundance, and so I was able to benefit from it. And so I think as you get out here, if you are always thinking selfishly, then you kind of cut yourself off from being blessed by others because you are not the type of person that would bless others, and a lot of times it doesn't come back around. And I can think of people who are always strapped for money. They always working, 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 never getting, and a lot of it is because they never give. And I think sometimes you have to understand that what goes around comes around in a lot of cases. I can remember thinking of, church that I used to go to. There was a lady that, everybody called Bag Lady. And so Bag Lady was, like a dope person. I remember going to this church and she would always be encouraging in the back of the church. And, I used to rap and different stuff like this. And, she would always just encourage me to keep on going and, giving my message and stuff. And so I remember when Bag Lady had passed, they had did the news and stuff in the area, had done a news report on her, and I just remember like she would pull up to church a lot of times in her limousine and stuff, right? And so when she would pull up in this limousine, it wasn't like the newest and whatever limousine, but it was a limousine, and nobody really knew like the wealth that she had, and so I remember one of the statements that she said. She said, I never knew I would have as much as I had. She said, and it surprised me that I had as much as I had because, she said, I always gave everything away. Everything I had, I always gave it away. So she was like, I just wonder how I got as much as I did. And so thinking through that, going back to the limousine, she was used to taking people from the neighborhood to the grocery store. And so her car wasn't big enough. And so she said, you know what? Instead of getting a van, I'd rather get this limousine. So she bought a limousine just so she could run a lot more people to the store because some of the people she was taking to the store had kids and all of these types of things. And so I think that really sparked something in me to understand that you can give, you can care about other people, and God will continue to provide for you. And so what I'm saying is that, the more that you help people, the more that God can take care of you, and the more that God will bless you in a lot of ways. And it's not necessarily you doing it just so God can do things for you, because you can't control God. You can't make God do whatever you want him to do. But at the same time, it's like as you are just focusing on so many other things, God continues to pour back into you. And so, yeah, I hope you find this encouraging. I hope this is helpful. And if you do find it encouraging and helpful and you know that it can encourage somebody else, go ahead and send it to them. Also, like the video and then subscribe to the channel or follow me, whatever platform you follow me on. But, yep, thanks for watching. And I'm Damien, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.